go ahead and call us to order. And first order of business is we need to appoint a temporary chair.
Move that we appoint, what's your name again? Robert Congood.
I'll second.
Okay, a motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. Any agenda additions or deletions tonight? You have a note from Katie that we have an access permit that is not on the agenda.
I'll put that in my road commissioner report.
You'll include it in that?
Yeah.
Okay, so we don't need a formal addition then. Are there any other agenda additions or deletions tonight? Hearing none, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes of May 22nd.
Move we accept them as presented.
I'll second.
There's a second. Any discussion or corrections or deletions?
Look good to me.
Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Minutes are passed. Cash, Highway Road Commissioners report.
Okay, first off, we got 3 paving bids out for the Walker Mountain from the bridge by the Clarendon Springs Hotel out to 133.
Okay.
There's 3 bids here if you 3 want to open them. One of them will be Walt Paving.
Bob, I'll let you do the honors.
Okay.
Second one, there's another one of Fuller Sand and Gravel. And there's another one of Pike Industries.
He doesn't have a letter over there.
Oh, there used to be one in there. Okay. Well, go the old-fashioned way. So, Cash, you want to just clarify again what section road we're talking about?
This section of road will be from the new bridge at Clarendon Springs Hotel, just north of that, about 60 feet. And it'll go all the way through 133 at that intersection. Initially, we had planned on just doing a reclaim about 3/4 of that up to the Airbnb of, help me, Andrea McCormick.
McCormick's, yep.
But after looking at the road after this winter, it's actually taken a real toll, so we were actually going to just shim and overlay that section. But now, after seeing the cracks and the roots that are starting to belly out, it'd be best to reclaim the whole thing,
Okay.
100%, right straight through. And that's the way I put it out to the 3 bidders.
Okay.
And also just know as an update to the public that like we applied for a grant for Walker Mountain paving and that was denied.
Got denied the grant.
That was denied, yep. Okay, well, I guess for the record then I can go over the 3 bids. And I'll go lowest to highest. The low bid comes in from Pike Industries at a total dollar amount of $223,157.33. And that is a per ton price of $71.90 and a 99-cent per square yard of reclamation.
Shoulders on that? Shoulder item?
That they wouldn't do the shoulders.
It does not include shoulders.
Okay.
Yep.
Just, that is.
Yep. So it does not include shoulders. The next bid.
Do you have, I don't want to interrupt, do you have the, how many tons were?
Yes. Okay. I can do that too. 2,926 tons. And 12,907 square yards of reclamation. The middle bid is Wilk Paving at $230,704.48. It is important to note that this bid does include a shoulder price, which is $11 a ton for material. The asphalt is $72 a ton, and the reclamation is $1.44 per square yard. The high bid comes in from Fuller Sand and Gravel at $233,376. With the asphalt at $77 a ton and $1 per square yard of reclamation. And I didn't give you the tons on the others, I'm sorry. The tons for Wilk is 2,895 tons and 13,017 square yards of reclamation. The tonnage for asphalt from Fuller is 2,868 tons, and the reclamation is 12,540 square yards. So there you have it for the board's pleasure, and I can pass these. You wanna?
What's the difference with
Fuller's total again, 233.
233, 376. Yep, even. No cents.
So Wilk is the only one that did the shoulders?
Correct.
320.
320 ton.
That right there is on me because it slipped my mind, and actually Tim brought it up to me, and I didn't get back to the other ones on the shoulder.
So if you want to go apples to apples.
Yeah, let's take that out of there so we can compare.
Yeah, you got to do the math on it. So 320 times 11. Right. So subtract 35.20 from the price. $227.
Wilk is only 10 cents more.
227, 184 if you're doing apples to apples. So if you, if you just for discussion's sake subtract the shoulder work,
Yeah.
apples to apples, your range goes from 223 to 227 to 233. As far as that goes.
So does that put Wilk down to, you said 227 from 230? No, that's not right.
Yeah, it takes about 35.20 off, right? Did I do the math wrong?
That's for the estimated 320 tons.
Yeah. Multiplied by the 11. So 35.20.
Square yards and tons are pretty close.
Run over the total prices again, Robert, please.
Pike at 223, 157 and 33 cents. Wilk, and again, remember it's got the shoulder work in it too, but that's at 230, 704 and 48 cents. And then Fuller Sand and Gravel at 233, 376.
And the difference for the second one over the, minus the shoulder.
So you take 35.20 off of it, which was what, 227.
What's your recommendation, Mr. Commissioner?
I'm going to ask one question before he gives a recommendation.
Okay.
Any indication on who can get to it first?
They're talking end of July. And
End of July.
And were you still on board with that? That be?
Mid to end would be reasonable. We do have West Rutland to do too, and a perfect world, I would try to reclaim both
Oh,
simultaneously.
that's,
so
work
that-
them together.
If we get West Rutland awarded, we were low bid last week, but we haven't been awarded. They haven't had a meeting to award it at this point, but yeah, so later July, mid to late July would fit.
It's at 230, price includes the shoulder and everything.
The 230 includes all of it. Yep. I know the treasurer's away right now, but what was our?
We got 80,000 left over from this year to use up for the fiscal year, and then there's 175 in the thing, so it's 255.
Okay.
I total, if I remember
Is
right.
what we have. Okay.
Just make sure it goes right.
Okay.
75. Yeah, 255. So we're within our budget of,
We're within the ballpark. Okay.
and just for public knowledge, we have to use that before the fiscal year because it's voter approved, which is June 30th, July 1st. So this, what we would decide to do is make basically a deposit to the winning bid of that 80,000 to use that up before the fiscal year.
Yep.
So if you went with the lower bid though, you guys, the town would have to do the shoulders
And I'll tell you something.
with the labor and everything?
We did shoulders on East Clarendon Road, and I thought it'd be smooth as sailing. It was, but oh my God, time consuming. And that we just had a shoulder job on Walker Mountain Road. 5 hours done.
So this 3,500 that you quoted, that includes the labor, putting it in and everything?
Yeah, we shoulder machine, and then
Is that plus material?
we actually included some recycled asphalt that we have for that 1.5-inch crushed recycled, which makes good as meets shoulders
That's
back.
$11 per ton.
Yeah. So, but we'd have the shoulder machine and a sweeper and a roller, like in a little train going
That's
down
all
the road.
include the 3,500.
Yeah.
And so, but the $11 per ton of actual materials on top of that.
No, that's included.
Well, that's including that
installed, yeah.
35.
That's reasonable.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really reasonable.
It is reasonable. Today's world.
That's
Well, is there anyone who would like to make a motion?
Well, I was just wondering if Cash had any kind of a feeling on one versus another.
Oh, they're all reputable companies.
Yeah,
And my thing is timing. I mean, this road up here, you wouldn't believe how much my phone has rang the last 4 years. And I literally myself has shoveled, you wouldn't believe how much coal patch. When
Oh,
I
I
send the
believe it.
guys off,
Yeah.
doing other things.
You got a
just
hole,
go-
you got a hole in there right now.
Yeah.
well, Mr. Chairman,
the traffic volume there shocked me,
the
actually.
standpoint of, we had one contractor showed up that's got a great reputation in my mind, as well as the fact that, he's, assured us on the timing, which makes sense to me. I guess that would be my recommendation.
So are you making a motion?
I would make that a motion, yes.
Okay, so George has made a motion to approve the Wilk paving bid.
I'll second.
Seconded by Art. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you. We appreciate that a lot.
Very impressed with the figures.
Yep.
Yeah, you got some great numbers. Really good competitive bids too.
I mean, the actual paving, you're 10 cents off per ton.
Yeah.
Okay.
Splitting hairs,
Yeah, just putting hairs, I guess.
but
Being,
that's good. We thank you a lot for your support. It helps.
Okay.
And we'll be in touch with you and
perfect.
see if we can do it again.
Yep.
Been a couple of years, I think, 2 or 3.
Yep, been like 3 years.
Yeah. We did right out front here, your parking lot.
Yep, yep.
All right. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. for
Thank you.
coming.
Take care now.
Okay. Mr. Road Commissioner.
Access permit? You wanna do that?
Yes, you have an access permit. You said you wanted to
Yeah,
do under your
access.
report as well.
We have an access permit for, on Walker Mountain Road, when you come down around the ball field, head towards gravel pit, you go across that bridge. The resident, which is Veronica Dell, and her husband or fiance, I think it's Colin. They'd like to move their driveway from, when you come across the bridge, they want to move it to right there, which will be better access and visibility for everybody. Right now it's up around the corner,
Okay.
headed towards the firehouse.
That first house right there on the corner?
Yes.
Okay.
And they're gonna do extensive work, so they wanna put a driveway up to there. I looked at the site and made recommendations to them to install a culvert. And on the other side of it, I wanna meet with the contractor when he does it, because minimum of 30-foot culvert instead of 20.
Okay.
That way fuel trucks, garbage trucks aren't running over the ends and crushing the ends and pushing the headers in, so we have to, once we take it over, we'll have to maintain it.
Okay.
How far is the driveway gonna be from the bridge in terms of? I mean, is it-
About 25, 30 feet, 30
That's
feet
not too bad.
On the gravel pit side.
on the gravel pits,
Yep.
this side.
Can you put that in the permit that it needs a 30-foot?
You did, didn't you? There's our comment section to add that.
I put culvert required, but I didn't know the
Just,
size.
yeah, and I had that verbal discussion with them and we'll add to
I
it.
would add it right to the,
So you can make that motion to add it
I'll make the motion that we add 30 feet to it
and approve it.
And that's what I've
and then
been,
approve it.
that's what I've been doing with all the driveway
Okay.
access.
Sounds good.
So the motion was made by Selectman Menard to add into the documentation that they must use a 30-foot culvert and then approve it with that change.
Reasonable.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by George. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
The next thing I have in line, as some people, townspeople already know, that we're doing extensive work on West 10th Road, cutting trees back, and actually not widening the road. It's to get water off the road.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like a disaster when you go into a project like that, but so we have an excavator, a small one, and we're into a lot of big trees that we cut down, and we need to stump all them out. And there's some ledge in there that whatever's loose will come out if we can rent a big excavator to do the project. I reached out to 3 companies, 2 of them respond back to me. The first one is Windmill Equipment. They it's $3,000 a week or $9,000 a month, but however, we have to pay for the trucking from New Hampshire to and from. And I just throwing it out there, the trucking's gonna be $1,500
One way or two way?
both ways. So, you know, it could be even a little bit more than that. I didn't price out the trucking, but that's pretty close. Going. The second one that I reached out to or got it from is Greg Constantino, and he would do it for $2,500 a week straight. We'd have to still pay trucking, but I'm thinking we'll probably get the trucking done for roughly $600 each way. Because
Okay.
Greg's right up there, and the machine is up there.
It's
Okay.
2,500
$2,500 a week,
and trucking is not included.
plus trucking.
Pretty big price difference.
$1,200 for the trucking roughly.
Oh, yeah.
Big price difference.
Yeah. The reason why we could actually do it with our little machine, but it'd take about 3 years life off the machine and take us all summer to do it.
If you get the big
With-
machine, how long you think you're gonna have
I'm
it?
hoping we can do it in 2.5 weeks. 5-day weeks.
Well, what's the board's pleasure? We have the information.
I'll approve it as long as when we get the thing, we're working it. I don't want it
I've
sitting.
already spoke with the road crew about it, and they're on board with that, and we'll work at some overtime on it to get to use it.
All right, I'll make a motion that we go with Constantino's quote
With this contingency, doesn't it?
with the contingency that it doesn't sit.
Okay.
Those are the only 2 quotes or bids or whatever.
That's all come in of the three, and I didn't know who else to reach out to.
So George, the
I'll
motion.
second it.
Okay.
And they're actually like G-Stone, they don't rent anymore. They're like 4,000 a week.
So the motion on the floor, in case you didn't catch it, is to approve the bid, the rental from Constantino, with the contingency that the machine does not sit, and when it's in our possession, it's being worked.
And are we starting with 2 weeks? Or
We're starting with 2 weeks.
just for the agreement, like what I should put in there? Date beginning.
Well, yeah, when are you ready for it?
If we could actually start it this week. And it's a matter of getting hold of Greg to make sure the machine's ready to go, oil change or whatever, and the truck is.
I don't have a problem whenever the road crew is ready for it.
Okay. So I
Right.
sent out that draft agreement.
She's asking though, you're asking for putting a limit on it for 2 weeks?
Yeah. Just for the contract purposes.
Can you do it in 2 weeks?
That's what we run into. I'm thinking 2 to,
Well, if we put it in for 2
I-
weeks, and if
We
you
can-
need,
we can
if you need
revisit
more,
it.
we can revisit it at the next meeting.
right, next meeting.
Okay. For 2 weeks.
Are you good with that amendment, George?
Yes.
And I guess everybody's still good with that? Okay.
I do want to just note, just so you guys know, that I talked with our insurance, and the agreement I provided was adequate, but she mentioned there was not any language about wear and tear.
That's the driveway. And Robert might have to sign it.
So I don't know if you want me to add language
Yep.
about that, or if the agreement is fine as is.
Robert, you gotta sign that.
So what's the board's pleasure? So we've approved the rental. The question on the floor now is language in the contract regarding wear and tear. Do we want anything in the contract regarding that?
The only thing I could think of is we could put in, the town would be responsible for normal wear and tear. Anything above and beyond that, we're not.
I think what she was saying was if something happened to the excavator that was because of wear and tear, not the town's fault, like they could make us pay for it. And if we're okay with that, I can leave it as is. If we're not, then I would
So you're
need
just
to
looking
add.
for a clause that states the town's not responsible for normal wear and tear.
Yeah. If you guys want to do that.
Such as bucket teeth for
Yeah.
stuff like that. I mean, that's part of the rental. I mean, that they know there's gonna be digging.
So does somebody want to make a motion to add that to the contract?
Seems reasonable, I'll move.
Okay, motion made by George,
I'll second.
seconded by Art. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Anything else under the road commissioner's report?
Katie has been contacted by the town of Rutland Town about the Quarterline.
Yep, that's further down our agenda.
Okay. Oh, you got
Wait,
somewhere
you
else?
got it under highway right now.
I know, but we've got other stuff here
Okay.
before we get to it.
Okay.
We skipped Creek Road improvement. That was,
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
So I can give an update on that. I reached out to the contractor for more specific dates on when that's going to happen. So I could send out a notification letter to affected property owners. And it's going to be the last 2 weeks of July, the box culvert. So I'll send out letters probably this week, so it's a 30-day notice.
and sooner than later, we need to get signs up over there, obviously, that it is going to be closed.
Yep.
So that's my update.
I was thinking the 1st of July. They give them a 2-week window.
Okay, now we're back on track and we can do
Oh, the
Quarterline
You're
Road.
moving down through. I'll skip around.
Yeah, he's doing a little shucking and jiving, that's all.
That's all right. Katie's been contacted with Rutland Town's
Their town administrator.
assistant town administrator about us helping out with the Rutland Town side of Quarterline Road. And we got enough going on. We sometimes, if this road's real bad as far as plowing and stuff, I told my driver, whoever's up there, myself or the other two, one of the other two, if it's not safe to turn around where we need to turn around, which is a very tight spot, to actually go to the asphalt, which is about approximately a half mile, and turn around. If you gotta sand, or if you gotta plow a little bit and sand, just lightly sand just to get back safe. That's the way we would do it. But not as a normal maintenance from grading to plowing to everything. I don't feel it's the town's responsibility for, whatever, cause if something happens and we plowed it and sanded it and it turned to ice or something, I don't know the liability on that part. I had no problem if there's an emergency or something. We'll help out anybody, any town. That's my opinion.
I, for one, was shocked at the condition of that end of the road, having driven it 2 times in the last 2 weeks. And I don't normally drive that way, but I had stuff in West Rutland, and I decided to take a scenic drive. And, you know, when I about got rattled out of the seat on that end, I was shocked, but I would say, like you, our taxpayers aren't paying for us to do other towns' roads.
Even if we got hired, paid, but we're not out for hire in that sense.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we're there if there's an emergency or something, a serious washout. I had no problem. I come to the select board and say, look, they need, help or something or whatever. But
I know we got a lot of residents here. From my experience, it seems like this year is worse than what it has been. I mean, in my opinion, but I don't drive it regularly, but
We do.
I know you do.
Multiple times.
I know you do.
Yeah.
well, I thought you might be here supporting us fixing it.
And I know Rutland Town's response to us basically was, well, it's Clarendon residents that want it fixed. So if Clarendon residents want it fixed, why doesn't Clarendon fix it? Which the world doesn't work that way. So
On that,
Not all Clarendon.
it's
people.
not all Clarendon.
That's a really,
in that
really
case,
fair statement.
in that case,
that was my interpretation of the email. So
Yeah.
that's
No, that's what he states that. I've spoken with him several times. You can't get through. And that's his, that's what he said 3 years ago he started. This has been a 3-year battle.
Yep.
3 years ago he started, telling me that it's a revolutionary road and, that they don't have, that they discussed it at their select board meeting and they don't have the funds to fix it and they're not going to do anything about it. So I stated that it's the 21st century. We do not use that road with buggies and horses anymore. And that for emergency services, it needs to be open. There's houses above it and below it, and it was always maintained. Byron Hathaway put in a drain there. The stone's there, and he maintained it when he was a road commissioner. And it's been the last 2 road commissioners that one was pretty good. When Walt Tripp was taken over, when he was good about plowing it. And now this new guy, Sears, he does nothing about it. And I've spoken with their select board members, Don Chaffee. Donardo hasn't called me back. And and also Ashcroft. So after that, Ashcroft did fill in the holes haphazardly, and she put a brand new Class 4 sign. Now you cannot have a Class 4 sign there when there's houses above it and below it. West Rutland, Pittsford, all of those towns have fixed their roads regarding that. So obviously we need somebody, a spark plug, or someone to change their mind regarding that there's homes there now, so it's not like it's a farm, like Billings Farm. Yeah, there's homes there now, and you need access, emergency access. Clarendon people are not the only one that uses it. You have you have people from all over that use it because it's a direct access to Rutland Town and Rutland City. You have not only do you need emergency services to do this, you have UPS, you have FedEx, you have the transfer station guys going up and down that road, and Rutland Town's post office goes up and down that road to deliver mail. And not only with, you have the city transit bus that used to come up, because there's a person up there that has end-stage renal disease, and they would come up and pick them up and bring them to the hospital and deliver them back. Now there's volunteer services that come up that road at 5:30 every morning, picks up the lady and brings her to the hospital for her treatment, and then brings her back. So that road, if you contacted the Agency of Transportation, that road is well used. And Rutland Town is just playing hardball.
Have you talked to our state representatives?
Yes, I did.
That-
I got a hold
Got nowhere
of.
to?
I
You
did.
go, girl.
I called Art Peterson. I had Burditt's number. I called him, and I did not find Brian Cullimore's number. Well, Brian Cullimore and Burditt want nothing to do with it. They're washing their hands clean of it. Art Peterson has responded twice to me regarding that. I told him all about the first call, Revolutionary Days. It's a historical road. They want nothing to do with it. And then about emergency services and everything else. He agreed with me. He drove up and down that road. He agreed with me. He supposedly knows Don Chaffee. He was going to get a hold of him and talk to him and see if there's something that they can't work out. So he's well aware of that road, and he's driven that portion of the road. And so then I mentioned to him about the Agency of Transportation just putting a meter there and to see the access of the road. He says, oh, no, I don't think you need to do that. I will. And because it's well used, we use it all the time, and this wear and tear, I mean, it's horrible. They just dropped the ball this year. They haven't done anything. They haven't filled it. We're not asking for a new road. We're just asking for maintenance.
They
We're
weren't
asking
plowing
for it
either.
to, and the last time I called, because I have a direct line to the road crew, so the last time I called them to tell them that the road is horrible and that the potholes need to be filled in, they said, oh, surprisingly that you called today because we were just setting up a contract to have a grader come up. I said, surprisingly, you used that line again. I said, because last year, it took all summer before you sent the grader up, and it was 3 weeks up there grading the road. And they know they have other issues. And so even on the Rutland Town side, they had issues, and somehow this week, or last week, they did fill in the asphalt to those driveways where they resurfaced. That was done just last week. But once again, they haven't touched
The dirt
the
section.
dirt section.
Okay.
And it's a half mile.
So I don't know, who do we sue? when there's a serious situation that needs to be addressed through emergency services. I mean, it
It's-
seems pretty silly. I'm,
Well, the town
obviously, I wouldn't
The town
want
that
to do
owns
that.
it, obviously.
Right.
I'm being a little facetious, but
there's
I
a-
don't understand why, they're just being really difficult. It's a half a mile for crying out loud.
There's a perfect example we have in town, South Creek Road. We have, I think it's 10 residences on that road, and part of it's paved. And the rest of it, it's a bear keeping the potholes out. We've done some ditches and improved it and helped a lot. By putting some more culverts in and draining the water off and stuff like that.
I would like to say that Clarendon does an amazing job
Yes,
of taking
absolutely.
care of that, the Clarendon section of the road. You guys are amazing. You're responsive. I don't even know how you manage to do that when we have the snowstorms that we have. But we're well cared for.
We have
by
a good
you
team
folks.
works together. There's only 3 of us.
Well, it's
And
pretty amazing. So thank you.
thank you, I'll pass it on to them.
Please.
And, they always get thumbs up before they're getting other things.
No, we appreciate
No,
your
definitely
services.
appreciate it.
Yeah, and you guys do a great job.
Have you,
and
have
we
you
were
tried to
just-
talk to the Rutland Town residents that are on that road to see if they
There
could?
isn't any Rutland
There isn't
Town.
any
There
Rutland
aren't.
Town.
I mean,
It's
right when
Shelley.
the pavement turns
Right.
to dirt,
That's
that's the last house.
There's 2 houses that are on the
Yeah.
dirt
Oh,
road.
that's
And
true.
Northfield House.
And
That
then
is
Billings
true.
will know.
They're taxpayers, I would
Yep.
assume.
There are,
Shelley, your hand was up.
Yeah. So what if Rutland Town paid North Clarendon to take care of the road?
See, and that's what I think it was coming down to. We have our hands full now.
Oh, I know that, and
This,
I'll second what these guys are saying. You guys do a phenomenal job on all the roads in Clarendon. I mean, I ride my bike on a lot of them, and they're in better shape than a lot of other roads.
except in their construction zones.
Yeah, yeah. Minor detail.
I think the struggle that we have, because this has come up a couple different times about us getting, so at one point in time there was a discussion, might have even been before you, about like the Ira side of Tier Road, for example. There's short sections that we have that, could there be a maintenance agreement or something like that where we get paid? And basically the board's stance, at least up until now, it doesn't mean it can't be reopened, but the stance has been, we have our hands full to keep everything together as it is, to then be getting paid, and then how do you explain it to, just hypothetically, let's say the grader breaks on Rutland Town's road or on Ira's road or on somebody else's road, and then we got to explain to East Street, oh, hey, the grader's not available to go to your road for a month because it's down, because it broke down in Rutland Town, and the residents are going to be like, well, what was it doing that? It's just, it's one of those things where it's kind of a nightmare, unfortunately. But in the midst of all that, if Rutland Town is interested in hiring somebody for a maintenance contract, there's plenty of companies out there that they could hire to take care of that half a mile of road.
There's people that own graders that
would go out and would do it.
That would do it. And actually, there's one contractor that has grader, got plow trucks.
All of it.
And the only reason why, and I'll step this in a little bit, I think it's gotten a little bit worse because Walt Tripp retired. He lived in Chippenhook, and he traveled that road every day.
Right.
So I think that helped a little bit there.
Guaranteed it helped.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm wondering, from the standpoint of people power, if we found a meeting, I would be willing to call a coordinator. What's your
Bill
equivalent?
Real sweet.
Yeah, Bill Sweet, to see if a bunch of us could attend one of their select board meetings and voice our opinion and maybe recommend that they contract some of these private folks to do the work. Because I can't imagine whatever charge that they would have would be much different than a charge that we would have to make.
I mean, I think the important thing that you're noting is that you're not looking for a brand new road.
No.
You're just looking for potholes to be filled.
Just what they've been doing in the past has
Right.
worked. And it was very satisfactory, the
Oh.
plowing and the grading.
Right.
Also, they got up by Haliba's, Boardman Hill. That
Yep.
part of that's dirt to West Rutland.
That's
I don't,
not in great shape either.
Between the lines, I was like, yeah, if we do take over that section, all of a sudden we're gonna be on Boardman Hill.
Yeah.
We're gonna be in West
Right,
Rutland.
right.
I'm like,
What you're saying makes sense
Right.
to me, and I agree with you, George. I think it makes sense to figure out how to come together as a group and see what we can do to resolve it.
Yes. So I'd be happy to make sure that you got contact information to Katie, and I would get a hold of their administrative person for the board, see if we can come visit them and let them know the amount of use that it gets. Well, my daughter, who's now teaching, uses it every day. So,
I do know it's been referred to the highway committee for Rutland Town. That was in, Bill
Well-
Bauer, who runs the transfer station for Rutland Town, said it was on the PEG TV recording, that it's been referred to their highway.
well,
Committee.
maybe I'll talk again to their assistant and see if that's the group we should meet with or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I'll get a hold of people, telephone or email or whatever, make sure that you have it.
I would also say, though, that if, I realize there's not, you're saying there's 2 residents on that actual section, but if there's others even down from there that travel that road, I would say having some Rutland Town folks stand up and say, hey, at least the potholes need to be filled in.
Kathy Kapitansky, when she delivered our mail, she was our rah person.
Yeah.
But Byron got it. I mean, Byron was never, he'd work with us, call him up and, hey, Byron, can you fill these potholes in? And they'd be filled in the next day.
Yep.
Where with Sears, he'll let the trees.
I have more conversations with the West Rutland Post lady than anything else. And some of them haven't been good, but as time goes on, it's getting better.
So I will do that in the next few days, and I will let people know, and we can, of course, they'd probably say, don't bother, but I think I'd go anyways.
Maybe if you signed in on this sheet
It's
with
a,
concerns about Quarterline Road, you can leave your email with it.
it's a public meeting, I would guess they have.
Yeah, I mean, committee meetings are generally public too, yeah.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yep.
And I think that would make a big difference if we all showed up at their meeting.
That's what I'm
And then if we
thinking.
could get those families that live on the south end of the tarmac, it just makes sense.
And I don't know how many of you folks were around in the sixties when, protests were the thing of the,
My understanding is Snow's house, he's complained about their driveways now like 20 inches below grade level. So he's complained to Rutland Town, and I don't know if they're planning on doing anything with it. But the two driveways that Felicia's talking about, one is Vic Tomalovich, and he was dragging his Ford Explorer pulling out of his driveway because the road had been repaved and had elevated so much. So,
So that
and
was
the
on the
response from Rutland Town was like, yeah, we'll get to it at some point. So,
So if anybody's ever gonna complain, we ought to be the ones here in Clarendon complaining, because we have Ira, Danby, Tema, all that traffic comes through there.
yeah.
The worst part about it, better we fix like Quarterline Road Hill and all those roads. It makes it easier traveling for them.
Right.
Right.
So we
Well,
ought to be the ones.
The hill
Well,
line with
direct-
Victories is 1,000% better than
Oh
it's
my
ever
gosh,
been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a direct access into the city or the town.
Well, you get Vic Tomalonovich on your side, you'll have somebody.
Oh, he's on our side because we give him some wood occasionally.
He knows how to squawk.
Any other Quarterline comments or anything tonight?
So I think we're gonna try to schedule to meet with either their select board or highway committee.
Sounds like highway
Yeah.
committee to begin with.
I will work on getting that.
And if anybody has any select board contacts, which I think a few of us do, it might not hurt to put in a phone call.
Yep.
Off the record, I'd like to say George Levac is rolling in his grave over the condition of that road. Knew the man well and his family, and his job when he did the road work for Rutland Town, that end of Quarterline was really well done. Actually, at that time, better than Clarendon. So Clarendon, great job. But truly, it's a mess.
And I have to admit, it's so bad that even people don't walk it anymore. I
Yeah.
used to see elderly people with their dogs parked over on
Yep.
the side walking and everything.
Yep.
No one walks it. I mean, you could break your ankle.
Okay. All right. Well, with that, we're going to move on. Thank you for
Yeah.
coming down.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, thanks very much for listening to
Really.
all
Yes.
of us.
Absolutely.
Thank
So,
you.
We'll see what we
appreciate
can do from our end.
Thank you.
Numbers.
Select board warrants are here. If anybody, I don't know if have they made it around. Probably it's just me that's left.
I haven't.
You haven't seen them yet. Let Cash. I'll get them at the end of the meeting.
Okay, got it.
So warrants are coming over that way. Have you had it?
Yep. Okay. Thank you.
Looks like that clears out our guests, unless anybody here wants to be considered a guest.
Okay, I move we adjourn.
That guy up there in the orange shirt, I mean, he didn't have a ticket to get in here, so.
Any public comments on any other
Sorry.
items tonight?
Red.
Not hearing any, we're going to move on to the cemetery committee with the tree removal and headstone update.
I've got one thing to add to that too, so. But anyhow,
It's too late. You added to the agenda earlier.
Now's your time. Go ahead.
we got called into trees, trees has responded, they
We have
Sure.
a signed contract.
got a signed
Good.
contract. It was like a $580 boost to his original to take down that other 2 spurs on that other maple tree. I got called in today because we're trying to schedule it before the end of the fiscal year.
Okay.
So hopefully tomorrow morning I'll be able to talk to, I'll hear back from Tom. The stone that was broken last September by the mowers, came from Balkers about a month ago, and last week ago, 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, it's coming Wednesday. We set it in place at the marsh.
Okay.
Looks really nice. family who I've responded, I've sent pictures to the family members. Haven't heard anything from the Michigan folks, but other family members are appreciative that it was repaired and things were noticed and taken care of. And now, you know, I've still got the old stone because some of them are interested in having a piece of it. Just no one's coming up with some funds to ship them a piece of stone. Not necessarily what the town's going, you know, it's not the town's responsibility. We just, responsibility of making it available to them. So if someone comes and, you know, comes up with a plan on how getting a piece of the stone to them, then we'll accommodate that. Third of all, we got our work day June 24th in Chippenhook, and I would like to see if possibly we could release $125 worth of funds from the cemetery budget. The only thing I've bought this year is cleaning solution, so I can provide some type of a light barbecue lunch for all the volunteers. That's
Good with it.
Is that a motion, George?
That's a motion.
Okay, George made a motion to release 125.
Yes. that's-
To release $125 for barbecue.
Does that include cigars?
yeah.
Was that a second, Cash? Seconded by Cash. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Again, I'd like the minutes to reflect that I, for one select board member, appreciate all the work that's being done in our cemeteries around town. I mean, it's a very incredible difference, particularly the one right outside this building. Amazing. So,
It's even gonna get better one of these days. That
When
view
the
out that window.
excavator shows up, I know what he does.
Boy.
Okay, mini grant execution for the MERP grant, which was the energy resilience or whatever you call it, right?
Yes. So I reviewed the grant agreement and just wanted to draw your attention to the third page and the fourth page. I highlighted a section. On the payment provisions, it said that grantee will submit a payment request within 30 days of execution of this agreement. And we don't have a plan or project yet of how the $4,000 is going to be spent. So do we hold off on signing up on that? What are your thoughts?
What's the drop dead date for this?
Well, the award end date is 12/31/2026.
So I would say you table it for tonight and get more information and put it on next meeting's agenda.
Is it for this building?
It's for, there's a couple different purposes. This is a mini grant, and it can be used for community meetings and communication, identifying qualified local projects, grant application assistance. So we have not like narrowed down how it's going to be spent.
Communications, town crew.
what's that again?
Peter.
Oh,
Well, it has to be about energy,
Energy.
like education and outreach on energy.
Is there a motion to table?
so moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to table until next meeting. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the item is tabled till next meeting. Quick claim deed for the Morton property in relationship with Casella Construction, Casella Group, I should say. This was the property, actually goes back to Kelly's time in the delinquent's office. Was a process started way back then to get this property that basically had been abandoned for a number of years off the books, and it turned out that Casella owns the pit next door and was interested in just absorbing it into their parcel.
One on the East Clarendon Road.
Nope, this is on Walker Mountain Road.
Oh, okay, got it.
So looking at this, our note from our attorney is that it's been revised somewhat and has included new language, and to suggest the town is including any rights that it may be entitled to obtain on the Morton property, and basically the intention, he believes, is to indicate that there were a tax sale, if there were a tax sale, that there might be certain rights. And our attorney wholeheartedly says he has no objection to the proposed change. In other words, that he would be good with us signing it as it's been amended.
So from my understanding is Mike has to sign it because his name is on it. So I'll make a motion that Mike can sign it when he comes back from his.
Yeah, I would second that.
Town of Clarendon, there is no name on it, just
It
Throwing
says
that
it says duly authorized, but then
just says an authorized agent.
but then below it says Michael Klopshin, the duly authorized.
Okay, so we can approve it and he can sign it as soon as he comes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you're is that your motion?
My motion is that we'll approve it and he can sign it.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, so the motion is to approve it, and when Mike's back, he can sign it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Finally. Looping back to the Chippenhook Schoolhouse.
I wonder who wants to talk about that. Anyways, seeing as how I started this a while back, few things I'd like to mention. Number one, let's talk about the property itself that is listed as being owned by the town in the grand list. And from that standpoint, it seems to me that the town has a certain responsibility of some kind related to the fact that that's listed as a town property. Not only do we have some responsibility to the property, I would think, in some fashion, but also whatever's on the property, which happens to be a building that's being used for a warehouse or a storehouse at this point. Now, along with that, I was talking with Bob Underhill, who was nice enough to come down here tonight. And he had a conversation with Becky Marandelier, and I was hoping that he would relate the results of that conversation.
Certainly you'll need to talk to her directly, so I'm just paraphrasing. I had inquired after the last meeting, I inquired of her if she knew anything about, the property. And what she said, she couldn't remember when it was, but it would have been after the property started being taxable. I guess for a long time it hadn't been taxable. State said it had to be. That there was an issue with back taxes at one point, and apparently there was a lot of discussion amongst the then select board and probably her as treasurer, the listers at the time, and the solution or path of least resistance at the time was just to say the property is the town's and taking the land portion off the tax rolls. And but that's basically the gist, at least my understanding of what she was trying to explain to me.
Thank you.
That
So just before
it solves the then immediate problem of what they were dealing with.
Well, my understanding of the grand list is that it's not a legal ownership document.
Okay, but as chairman here, I also want to step in and I want us to caution us from going down the road of having significant discussion about hearsay. Because what was just presented to this board was hearsay from another individual. Yes. So let's be cautious. I know we're not in a court proceeding, but we're still in legal discussion.
That's why he said you need to talk to her.
Correct. Right. So I'm just cautioning us from going down the road of a major discussion regarding that information when it is what it is.
Right.
So my
Art is
suggestion,
correct in saying, the grand list is not the deed.
Yeah, it's not a legal document appointing ownership.
my suggestion would be to ask if Miss Mandelier would, jot it down in some kind of written form, maybe have it notarized and present it to us in terms of her understanding.
That's certainly a question that could be posed to her.
Yes. So that would, that's a step in one direction, but it still begs the question of, even if we get that document, what do we do next? because it seems to me that that ought to be an issue that gets resolved. I mean, so far it's been going on for years and there's been no issue that's come up that's caused the town any problem, but does that guarantee that forever there won't be one? I don't know. So that's an issue. And if it does end up being town property, then maybe we ought to be charging rent for the stuff that's on the property. Anyways, I'm done with it for now.
Okay. Any further discussion or items with regard to this agenda item?
I guess I would request maybe that Katie send a letter to Becky Mandelier requesting the some kind of something.
Is that a motion?
That's a motion.
Is there a second to that motion? Motion.
To get more information about it, just
He's asking her to submit a notarized document to the board. Motion dies without a second.
Okay.
All right. Fiscal year 24, the contract execution for the sheriff's department is our next item. This is to be signed by the entire board. I would just ask a question because I know we've had issues in the past. Has the treasurer reviewed it to make sure that it matches all dollar amounts?
So she said that it was budgeted $73,000, and on the document itself it says $73,008.
So there's an $8 difference.
So it's
And
up to you.
Where are we gonna get that $8? From the highway department.
I knew it.
Actually, no, from the rec department.
Rec,
Rec.
I'll take up the rec department. We'll take it. They patrol the rec field, so I'll take the $8 head.
Walker Mountain paved.
Well, we could get the rec department to do a coin drop somewhere.
Okay.
One road.
Since we know that there's only an $8 difference, is there a motion regarding the contract?
I'll make a motion to accept it as presented.
Okay, motion's made to accept it, seconded by George. Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries, and we'll pass it around for signature. Next item on the agenda is the cemetery mowing contract execution for 24. This was the awarded contract from before, and everything appears to be in order. And this is another one that you're going to have to approve for Mike to sign next time he's in the office. Is there a motion with regard to, again, it's already been approved who we selected. We're just approving the motion for the contract to be signed.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Cash. Any further discussion? Hearing-
Approve and have Mike sign.
Yep, that when Mike's next in the office, he can sign it. Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. We've got two housekeeping items. Regional Board of Commissioners certification for Rutland Regional Planning Commission to reappoint Bronson Spencer to the board, and for the Regional Transportation Advisory Committee to reappoint Dave Potter.
And Bob Bixby is alternate.
And Bob Bixby is alternate. Sorry about that.
Yes.
And nobody wishes to be an alternate to the Planning Commission.
It's
at the
currently
time?
vacant, so I can post,
Okay.
but I haven't had any interest. I think it's been posted for a whole year.
Yeah, I haven't had any.
Okay.
I'll move we approve those appointments.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Excuse me. Okay. Gloria, do you have anything for us tonight? Listers, do you have anything for us tonight? Okay.
You got anything,
Field
Matt?
date Wednesday.
Anything from the fire department tonight?
What's that, sir?
Also in the folder tonight, just as a quick announcement, is the latest solid waste district items. So if anybody wants to look at those. Okay.
Wait.
What are you? I'm going to you next. Calm down.
Okay, I didn't want you to.
You're next on the list.
Okay.
Sure.
Katie, what do you have for us tonight?
Nothing. Oh.
After all that.
Just as an update, I think last meeting I had said that we were waiting to hear back about the structure grant for the engineering. We did hear back and we did get that grant. So waiting on a grant agreement for that.
Yay.
I got an email today or late last week from actually Keyser if I should be getting propane quotes already for fixed pricing. So I think I did it early last year as well. Do you want me to do that this year, right now?
I would say any time in the next 2 months.
Yeah, put them together, put a file together.
Probably we probably should approve something before July's out. I would think end of July.
Yeah, I think their pricing is good for so long, so I will probably get it mid-July for the last meeting. The other thing is Tier Road survey. A draft is on the table. Any final review or comment? Like in soon, or we're gonna go ahead and I think the surveyor is gonna file it. So.
Okay. So that is up here if anybody wants to review it.
If I don't hear any comment back, probably by the end of this week, I'll tell them it's good to go. I've emailed that file to you as well.
Okay, so if there's any feedback, please get that to Katie. Anything else?
That's all.
Cash.
First off, got Matt's rocks moved at the
Yay!
I took time and did it. And delivered a part load at Chippenhook Cemetery.
So it would be safe to say that you're really rocking?
Do that today or? Today or?
Today. I had an extra part load on the truck.
So it's for the parking lot? Did you
No,
say
it's for the
stone?
workday.
Oh, okay.
That's all I had.
Okay, George?
Oh, yes. it shouldn't take more than an hour, but I would like to suggest to folks in town and people sitting in this room that, thinking about the, issue of the, Chippenhook Schoolhouse, would it be nice to retain that as a historical artifact that we could make use of in our town? And if anybody has any ideas or efforts to go along with that, be more than happy to entertain them. That's it.
Okay. I don't have anything for tonight. Selectman Menard,
I'm good.
I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Have a good evening, everybody. Thank you.